well, it's counting. There we go. Did that freak you out? It's like the lady in the projector that's counting. Yay. All right. So let's do this problem quick. It's not a big, scary one by any stretch, but let's make sure. So we got this little picture. The diagram above illustrates a car that starts from the origin at 0, travels 4 kilometers right, then 7 kilometers left. First question says, what is the net displacement of the car? Answer? -3 kilometers. Does that make sense? Where does that come from? What does displacement mean? Distance from distance with direction from the start to the end, right? So we don't care how you got there. Does not matter. The thing that matters, bam. Oops, let's make that bigger. There it is that this is where we started and this is where we ended. We're just going to add from one to the other. Bam. And they could have just gone like that, right? That is the displacement for our car. And then what is the total distance traveled by the car? What'd you say? 11. I'm sorry, I totally cut you off. 11. Yeah. 11 kilometers, do we agree? Where did that number come from? 7 plus 4. Easy peasy? Okay, quick question for you. Is it possible for the distance that you travel to be negative? No. The distance that you travel is always just going to be the number of steps, right? Or the number of kilometers. It's just like your little odometer in your car. It does not matter what direction you're going. Talk to me about displacement. Would it have to be negative? It can be, right? And the fact that it is means that we've gone to the left overall versus to the right. Easy enough? We okay? Okay, so I've got one more little follow-up to go with that. There you go. It looks like this. Okay. Is it the same question? Morgan, what's different?
The origin moved.
The origin moved. Okay. Full disclosure, I stuck it into paint and I moved the origin. Like, that's literally all I did. So I didn't do any of the other funny business. So answer those questions real quick. Go. Is it a trick question?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what you mean by trick. I don't think it's a trick question. It's just a thinker question, right? Do the answers change? No. Same answers. What's the point of why did I waste our 35 seconds looking at this question? What's that? Not to bamboozle you. Wrong answer. No. I'm not trying to bamboozle you. What am I trying to point out to you, though, Chris?
That even if the starting point is different, the change in position is going to be the same.
Exactly. The change in position and the total distance in this case, right? It's exactly the same. Yeah. The final position is now -5 as opposed to -3. So if I had a third question here that said, what is the final position of the car? Then you would say -5, and that would be the changed answer. But everything else, displacement and distance, does not change, doesn't have any bearing, or doesn't matter, I should say, what the initial position was. We good? Okay. Yay. No bamboozling, just thinking. That's all we're doing. All right. Let's take a look back at our list of things to do for today. First of all, just a heads up or reminder, depending on if you knew or didn't know, that there is back to school night tonight. That is something that I know is much more popular for like freshman, sophomore parents than for juniors and seniors, but I would love to meet your parents. I love talking to parents. I really do. So send your parents. Have them come hang out with me. It's just a 5-minute commitment in here. They can stay all day if they want. But anyway, 6:30 to 8 is when it lasts. So they can come visit me at 7:35. It'll be great. Okay. You can come with. I don't know if they're going to have food, but it'd be fun if they did. But anyway, so do you have questions about this? Super fast, fun. They get to meet you and meet us. So it's good. So anyway, yay for back to school night. All right. Let me scroll down here a little bit. Today's plan, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about an assessment that's coming up on Friday. I put that on the calendar or on the notes yesterday just so that you were aware of that. This is not going to be a big, long, scary test, okay? Because I'll be completely honest, we haven't done enough stuff for it to be a big, long, scary. Like I could ask you the same question 7 times. That doesn't seem like it's worth my time or your time to do. It's going to be, I'm going to say like 4 or 5 questions, okay? We're focusing on displacement and velocity, solving problems both graphically and algebraically, okay? And then just graphing and analysis of other sorts. So fair warning, one of the questions will be something we have never talked about, okay? Telling you that right now. The reason I'm telling you that is not so that you like pour over your textbook and read and read and read. I'm telling you that on the AP exam, one of the things that they like to do is to throw in something that is totally different than anything that's on like the content that you're supposed to cover. Okay? And the reason for that is because they give you data and they ask you to analyze data. And so the content does not matter, okay? It could be about widgets that are jumping and da-da-da, like it doesn't matter. You need to be able to take data, graph data, understand how to get information from data, okay? So fair warning, there is a question like that on this assessment that you'll see on Friday. Okay, so I just want to let you know that, mostly so that you don't get mad at me on Friday when you're like, we've never learned about blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I know you haven't, and you won't actually at all this year, but that's why I'm throwing it at you now, so that you get used to that idea of being thrown in a situation where you're like, I don't know what this is, but I can take a deep breath, and I can be okay. You with me? Bo, you don't look like you believe me. And the only reason I didn't tell you that to freak you out, and if I freaked you out, I apologize. I told you that to let you know to look over like your data analysis stuff. So like we graphed things, right? We found lines, all of that good stuff. That's what I want you to look at, okay? I know I have not gotten those Buggy Lab back to you. I'm hoping that I'll get them back to you tomorrow, okay? So you can take a look at them. But you know that process. That's what we're talking about, okay? I just gave you a pink sheet. The pink sheet is the next 2 pages of the AP Physics workbook, okay? So it's 1B and 1C. That's what I would like you to do for homework tonight, okay? So there isn't homework from your book. It's those 2 pages, front and back. The front, the 1B is very straightforward, I think. I don't think that should throw you for a loop at all. The back and on 1C, the first couple parts seem pretty okay. You might have to think a little bit. Part C, there's some stuff to chew on, but the reason I'm giving it to you is that so we can talk about it tomorrow. Does that make sense? So make sure you do it so that we can have a good conversation tomorrow about it. Okay? Questions about any of that? All right. So yesterday, I introduced the idea of the Buggy Lab Reprise to you and told you to start thinking, start planning. I'm not going to check what you did between yesterday and today right now. I'm not at all. But I do, because it may or may not have been some, I don't know. But I do want to show you kind of what I'm expecting. Before I do that, I meant to show you guys yesterday and I forgot, just to make sure that you're all clear. So this is like a little screenshot from Canvas that the solutions, like they're in the first module, okay? And they live right down here, chapter 1, chapter 2, and I'll just keep adding them forever for the rest of the year, okay? I was just talking to someone, not in AP Physics, but just a regular just another physics student, and they were saying that they sometimes find Canvas to be really frustrating because different teachers organize things different ways. I totally get that. And we had a conversation as a department this summer about, do we need to all be the same or whatever? I really like modules because it makes sense for my head. It makes sense the way that things are arranged. But if you ever sit down and you're like, I do not get this, like where is she putting stuff? Just let me know. Like I can just kind of point stuff out and kind of explain my thought process to you so that maybe you can unpack it a little bit more if you need that, okay? I don't want Canvas to be a barrier to your learning. I want it to be helpful. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that, okay? All right. So speaking of Canvas, you are going to turn in your stuff on Canvas for this lab, okay? So, but this is the first time I've tried this. So we're going to we'll tiptoe into it together. I think that it'll work. The goal for you, I'm going to give you 2 buggies, or you're going to take 2 buggies, and we may have to like share. So you need to be kind and share. You'll get 2 buggies, a red one and a blue one, okay? And your goal is to figure out, not by trial and error, I want to make that very clear, not by trial and error, where those 2 buggies will meet when they start from either end of a 3-meter track. So they're out on the floor outside my room are 2 pieces of tape that are 3 meters apart. So once you've done all of the work, you and your partner will make a prediction and we'll get a washer and you'll measure where you're going to put that washer. And then I'll let you go 1, 2, 3, go, and we'll see if it worked. Does that make sense? That's the goal for the day today. Okay. What I would like you to submit to me is some sort of plan, some sort of data table, because you're going to collect data about your 2 cars before you make a prediction. You're not just going to be like, I think it's at 1 meter and 25 centimeters. Like, it's not going to be like divine intervention to get this information, right? You're going to do some math and do some physics to show me, okay? You're gonna make some sort of graph based on that data, okay? And then make a prediction. If you want to type all of this out into a Google sheet, or excuse me, a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, that's totally fine. If you're more comfortable doing things by hand, that's fine with me too. You can just then take a picture and submit that on Canvas. Does that make sense? I'm trying something new, trying to broaden my horizons, okay? And then you'll turn in a prediction, and then we'll go out and try. Okay, if we can pound that all out today, awesome. If we need to do our tests tomorrow, that's okay with me as well. I'm going to stop talking unless you have questions for me. Everybody has a buddy except for our friend that wasn't here yesterday, but we'll put you in a group, I think. Is that right? All right. Go teams. Do your thing.